I'm not asking you again. Turn around.
For what?
You're being detained.
Based on what crime?
Suspicious behavior.
Suspicious how?
Staff doesn't recognize you.
That's not illegal.
Refusing to cooperate is.
I gave you
asked
my
for
name.
ID. It's in my bag. Keep your hands where I can see them.
I can't get my ID without moving my hands.
Stop arguing and comply. You are escalating this for no reason.
I don't need a reason beyond.
Jamal Richardson had spent 15 years putting criminals behind bars. As an assistant United States attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, he'd prosecuted gang leaders, white-collar fraudsters, and corrupt officials. He'd stood before federal judges and argued cases that shaped precedent. His conviction rate was 94%. His reputation in the legal community was impeccable. On a Saturday afternoon in June, he couldn't convince a single police officer that he belonged at his own country club. Within 30 minutes, he would be handcuffed, arrested, and processed like a common criminal. Not because he'd broken any law, but because someone couldn't imagine that a black man in athletic wear could possibly be a member of an elite golf club in Lake Forest, Illinois. The charges: trespassing, disorderly conduct, resisting arrest. The reality: a catastrophic collision between implicit bias and institutional authority that would expose how quickly serve and protect can become assume and detain. Before we continue, what city are you watching from? If this is your first time listening, support the channel by liking and subscribing. Stories like this need to be told, and with your help, we can make sure these events don't go unheard. This is the story of how a man who spent his career defending the Constitution was denied its protections in broad daylight, and how a 15-minute encounter would trigger a federal lawsuit, a police department investigation, and a national conversation about who gets the presumption of innocence in America. Jamal Richardson didn't inherit privilege. He built it, born on the south side of Chicago to a postal worker father and a nurse mother. Jamal was raised in a 2-bedroom apartment where hard work wasn't inspirational. It was survival. He was the first in his family to attend college, graduating summa cum laude from Northwestern University before earning his JD from Harvard Law School. But here's what the rankings don't capture. Jamal wasn't just academically excellent. He was relentless. During his second year at Harvard, he clerked for a federal appellate judge. During his third, he worked pro bono cases defending wrongfully accused defendants. By the time he graduated, he'd already argued before a mock Supreme Court and published a law review article on prosecutorial discretion that was cited in actual court proceedings. When the U.S. Attorney's Office in Chicago offered him a position, it wasn't charity, it was recognition. Over the next decade and a half, Jamal became one of the most respected federal prosecutors in the Midwest. He'd taken down a multi-state drug trafficking ring. He'd successfully prosecuted a sitting alderman for bribery. He'd secured convictions in cases so complex that defense attorneys would later admit they were outmatched. His colleagues called him the closer. Judges respected his preparation. Even defense attorneys in private acknowledged his fairness. And in 2019, Jamal did something that felt to him like a culmination of that journey. He joined Waverly Hills Country Club. It wasn't just about golf. It was about belonging to a space that, historically, people who looked like him had been systematically excluded from. Waverly Hills was one of the most prestigious clubs in the Chicago metropolitan area. Rolling Fairways, a clubhouse built in 1923, membership dues that approached 6 figures annually. Jamal had earned it. Every round he played there felt like a quiet rebellion against every barrier his parents